And welcome back to another episode of the Fight Analyst. I'm your host, the Fight Analyst Garrett Kerman. And this here is my man, the Joker himself, Peter Petties. What's up, man? How's it going on this on the road special you got going on?
Man, life is good, man. Life is good. I'm traveling back to the beautiful state of Maryland. Coming back from a nice little road trip to Atlanta, Georgia. My girlfriend had some training. Figured I'll come out here, check out the vibes. Haven't been out here since 2013, as we were talking backstage, since the Mike Easton, TJ Dillashaw fight. So when I came out here, I was a little broke college student, and now I got a little bit of money in my pocket. So I figured, why not check out Atlanta? And I regret nothing, zero regrets. It was all good vibes, as well as just being out here. Good middle ground of my current training camp going on.
Yeah, man, we got to talk about that. You got a title fight. That's right. A title fight, lightweight title on the line. Gulf Coast MMA coming up next month. It's actually about a month away, almost exactly a month away. How's it going? How's preparation going? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling great, man. It's we're about 5 weeks out, starting next week. Life is good. I got a nice little title shot against another hometown guy. However, I don't want to say no worries. I don't want to sound like an asshole or too cocky. But when I say no worries, the work that I've been putting in, I think it's been a culmination of a long time coming. Ever since, if people have been following the podcast, I've just been living in the gym and just taking my time, really being patient. And these last few matchups from last month to this one, it's just perfect. Kind of the stars are aligning, I should say. This just happens to be for a nice little title. Hopefully it has some eyes, as Brandon Davis, former UFC vet, is going to be the main event. I'm the co-main event. Going against a local guy. However, we have two common opponents. One which is in the UFC, and he got TKO'd by, and I actually won a unanimous decision. And then the other one, he had a tougher fight in which I kind of bloodied the guy up. So outside of that, I expect him to be on his best foot. And honestly, I said this before, and I'll say it again. They can put anyone in there right now, and whether it's UFC, the next UFC coming, I don't care at this point. The way things have just been aligning from my training to my mindset and just life in general. I think one thing I always try to tell people is everything happens for a reason, and everything's firing on all cylinders right now.
Yeah, man. I've seen you putting in the work. You're in obviously the best shape I've ever seen you in. You're looking good. You're looking fresh, ready to go. I'm excited to see you perform. Are we gonna finally see a finish here? I want to see you knock somebody out cold, man.
I mean, my biggest thing is, like I said, this 2021. My past performances, I think I've lost a little bit of discipline and looking for the finish. So if it comes and it presents itself, yes, like I said, I should have finished the last fight in the first round, but I think it was one of those things where it came a little too soon, and I was like, oh shit. And then after replaying the fight, I'm like, damn, I really should have finished that within 2 minutes of the first round. But my thing is always just finding your shots. I think with the Conor fighting this weekend, he has a nice little quote that I like. It's one of those things where you got to throw. No, there's the Izzy that says it. I throw, and no, I don't throw and hope. Aim and fire. There you go, for the most part. For me, I'm a very precise striker, but also I'm a mixed martial artist. If there's anything I've seen in this guy's fight, ground game's a little, some takedowns this fight. I don't know. We'll see. I'm just going to flow with the water. But at the end of the day, the number one mission is getting a W and on to the next. So whether it's a first round knockout, 3-round, you know what I mean, just domination, I'm just looking to go in, get the W, and move on to the next one.
Yeah, that's the main goal at the end of the day. Are we I know you don't want to look too far in the future, but are we looking for a quick turnaround as long as there's no injuries or anything like that?
Oh yeah, always quick turnaround, man. I would fight. I've said this ever since I started fighting. I would fight every week if I could. It's not that simple in professional MMA, but it's if there's anything that I cracked the code on being on this layoff is if you just stay in shape and you stay ready, the opportunities are going to be there, whether it's a week's notice. As we talked about, almost getting on the game bread card at day's notice, god damn it. But, it's just at the point, just staying ready, staying in shape. And honestly, I do feel like if I just stick to my goals and stick to my game plan right now, there's no reason I shouldn't sign to the UFC this year if everything keeps going together like how it's coming.
Absolutely, man. I like that. We've been talking about that for last like 2 years now. You getting back onto to the big stage. You've progressed so much over the time, and we've seen it. Everybody that's watched you over the time in your journey, we've seen the progressions, and you've just gotten so much better. But as far as your camp going, who is the main guys are getting you ready for this fight?
Right now we got some up and comers that have been in the gym just grinding. A few more people that I'll put on your radar for guys to look out for in the future. We have an undefeated light heavyweight. I think he could drop as low as 85 and 70. Chad Yard, really good guy. He's been putting it together. Hits like a fucking Mack truck, I can't say. But he's been a really crucial guy. He's just been living in the gym. Also one of those crucial partners for Tefan, who's been back in camp, getting ready for his September bout against what's his name? Oh, Mike Rodriguez, actually. So those are the two big guys. I've been trying to really, as crazy as it sounds, is fight these big guys because these weights, man, I'm trying to tell you, these weights are giving me a different type of power. It's to the point where I think once I'm back on the big stage, people are gonna be like, "Where the hell is this guy on roids?" Just because, like I said, I never really stuck to a real strength and conditioning program. And I think some of it was because I cut so much weight to 45 that I knew if I started lifting, it would just pack on the muscle. But now that I'm going up to 55, just saying the progression, I can feel the strength difference in general. Life's been good, man. Training's been good. No complaints at all.
Yeah, but you're talking about the strength and conditioning and all that. I mean, you said you were up to 183 around there at come fight time, and then you look at guys like Dustin Poirier. That's around where he was in his last fight, coming in against Conor McGregor. Does that give you a pretty much a big advantage? Now that you're at 155.
So one thing I would say, not a big advantage. I would say, like, I think as I've gotten older, I've gotten wiser. And from anything that I've learned in the PFL, it was just a matter of I was cutting too much, man. And in my performance, it wasn't really a cardio that faced it. It was more of my body just breaking down. Like I said, how many times can you say that a guy has sprained their ankle 2 days before a Contender Series fight and been in a fight and their shoulder came out of socket? I think if that's not your body telling you you're tripping, I mean, I don't know what else is. And, once the shoulder injury came, it was really just a self-evaluation. Part of the locker guy, my guy Jay, telling me, like, look, bro, you're cutting too much weight. I was close to stopping it. I mean, mentally you made it, but your body, this was before the injury happened. So when, you start to put all that together, it's like, all right, I should go up a weight class. Not to mention, I wasn't a small 45er. There were some 55ers in the PFL looking at me, thinking if I was in their bracket, that type of thing, while we're cutting weight and some of the Russian and crap like that. And I was bigger than them. Not to mention, I have a picture with Dustin Poirier from back in like 2016 at weigh-ins, and I'm bigger than Dustin Poirier then. So, it's one of those things where I think it was a natural progression. Don't get me wrong, I still could make 45 if I really needed to, but I also feel like for me, from a point of training, from a point of just overall well-being, 55 was the move, and I feel great so far. And I felt great in my last fight at 55.
Yeah, I mean, you look great. I mean, your cardio was on point. You didn't look like you were gassing at all, even towards the later portion of the fight. He was trying to, wear you out against the cage, and you look perfectly fine. I got this. You were even talking to your corner midway through the rounds and stuff like that. So I think this weight class really suits you very, very well. And like I said, you're in the best shape, I think, arguably, of your life. I mean, you are jacked. you have a ton of muscle, and you got the power is, it stayed with you. You had power 145, and then being at 155, it's just, I think it kind of enhances it even more, like a lot more. Just that check hook that you landed on him, put him down. Within just one nice little check hook, put his ass on the canvas. So I can only imagine what's going to happen in your next fight, coming up in just a month. I'm totally looking forward to it. I'm hoping to see you move forward and just keep winning and keep racking up titles at different promotions, all that. So I'm definitely looking forward to it, and I hope you get the win. But with that said, let's get into the breakdown. UFC 264. What a fucking fight card we got. Coming back from the break, we have Conor McGregor taking on Dustin Poirier in the trilogy fight. The last installment between these two. We're gonna once and for all find out who's the better man, who is one of the best lightweights on the planet, and I'm totally looking forward to it. But with that said, we're going to get into the breakdown right now. All right. So I don't know if you're going to have too much to say on this first fight, because I definitely won't. It's a fight in the middleweight division between Hu Yaozong and Alan Amadovsky. Amadovsky is a minus 145 favorite, and the comeback on Yaozong is a plus 120 underdog. What do you got in this one?
No bueno, especially because I can't even do my research right now because I'm driving.
Yeah, no, I figured. I really don't got much to say either on this. I'm definitely passing as far as betting goes. I'd probably go, if I'm having to choose a side, I would probably go with Amadovsky. I just think he's more battle tested. He's got double the amount of professional fights. Yao Zhang hasn't fought in three years. We don't know what we're gonna get from him at 185. He used to fight at heavyweight. Then he came down to light heavyweight. Now he's at middleweight. The dude has the longest torso I might have ever seen in my life. If you saw him at the weigh-ins, it's the craziest thing ever. Maybe the height, will be a difference maker, but I think Amadovsky is probably a better striker, a better all-around fighter, even though he gave John Phillips the only win of his UFC career in under 30 seconds. But other than that, I'd probably go to Amadovsky, but definitely not betting this one. All right, let's go to the next one. And then the next fight up is a fight in the flyweight division between Zhalgiz Zhumagulov and Jerome Rivera. Right now, Zhumagulov is a minus 350 favorite, and the comeback on Rivera is a plus 270 underdog. What do you got in this one?
I don't know enough about Jerome Rivera, but I'm not impressed with Zhumagulov after his last fight, honestly.
Really?
Yeah,
I think he won his last fight against Raulian Paiva.
No, didn't he fight the Middle Eastern guy, or am I tripping?
No, that was his first fight, Amir Albazi.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, then I missed his last fight, so maybe I'm missing something, and that's why he's a negative 270.
This fight, I obviously don't want to lay minus 350 on Zhumagulov, but I do think he's got an easy win here. He arguably beat Paiva, who is about the same stature as Rivera's. Actually, I think he's around 5'10", 5'11". So he's not used to being the shorter guy. I mean, and he's fought really good competition over Fight Nights Global, Tyson Nam, a bunch of those other Russian fighters as well. Really good fighters he's beaten. And then Jerome Rivera, he's 0-3 in the UFC. He got gifted a win on the Contender Series. He shouldn't be in the UFC as well. And it pretty much is giving him one last chance to right the ship and try to get a win. But I just don't think it's going to happen here. I think Zhumagulov he's the all-around better mixed martial artist, and Rivera just doesn't know how to use his length and his reach that well. He doesn't fight behind his jab. For someone that has a 6-inch reach advantage, you kind of need to use that jab, but he doesn't. So I got to go with Zhumagulov. I think he's going to be able to mix it up, mix in some takedowns, throw some leg kicks, and just all around outwork Rivera and finally get his first UFC win. All right, next up. This is a good fight. In the middleweight division, we have a fight between Amari Akhmedov and Brad Tavares. Brad Tavares is a minus 150 favorite, and the comeback on Akhmedov is a plus 125 underdog. What you got in this one?
Interesting. Who was Akhmedov's most recent fight?
Tom Brees, who's not in the UFC anymore.
And he won?
He won by arm triangle in the second round.
Outside of that, who else?
That's a good question. Give me a second. I'll look it up because I can't remember off the top of my head. I know he lost to Chris Wyman the fight before that.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Then he beat Ian Heinisch, Zach Cummings, and Tim Bosch.
Yeah, okay. I normally like to fade Brad Tavares all the time, but I do feel like he's gotten some gains this year.
He did.
So
I agree with that.
I'm actually not gonna fade Brad Tavares and watch him lose this one. I'm going with Brad Tavares. I think this is a big step down in his normal competition.
Right.
And I think he's given a fight that should be relatively winnable. So I'm gonna go with Brad Tavares on this one.
Yeah, I'm going with Brad Tavares as well. I think we know you're gonna get from Akhmedov. He's gonna come in, he's gonna try to take you down, lay on you, kind of grind you out. That's not the type of person that normally beats Tavares. It's normally strikers that beat Tavares. I mean, if you looked at Torno Collis Jr., he only landed one of like 12 or 14 takedowns against Tavares. And then Tavares was absolutely piecing him up on the feet. I kind of see it the same. He looked really good in that fight. I mean, his striking looked the best it's ever been. And Tavares' last 3 losses are Edwin Shabazian, Israel Adesanya, and Robert Whitaker. I mean, those are top tier, competition. And then you look at Akhmedov. Akhmedov just lost to Chris Wyman just 2 fights ago. I mean, that's not good. And then he gassed out midway through the second round, and it was just a sloppy grappling fest between those two. So I think Tavares, it's pretty much his fight to lose. He's got to keep the fight standing, and he should pretty much just cruise to a victory here. All right. Next up, we have a fight in the women's flyweight division between Jennifer Maia and Jessica Ai. Right now, Maia is a minus 190 favorite, and the comeback on Ai is a plus 160 underdog. Who do you got in this one?
It's very hard to ever go with Jessica Ai.
I agree.
It's to the point where when I realistically try and see what she's good at, it's really hard. So I'm gonna go with Maia.
I'm 100% with you here. I just don't see where Ai's gonna win this fight, other than hoping that she could just hold Maia against the cage. I think Maia's can strike with her, and she's definitely the much better grappler. And you're talking about she went tooth and nail with Valentina Shevchenko. I think she arguably won at least a round against Shevchenko, and nobody has won a round against Shevchenko at 125 pounds yet. So that's a big feat in itself. She looked good early on, in Valentina. She won like she normally does, but she looked good even in the loss. And Jessica Ai just hasn't looked good I don't think ever. So I'm gonna go with Maia here, and minus 190 is a decent price. It's not too bad considering. All right, next up, we have a fight in the middleweight division between Trevin Giles and Dricus Duplessis. I'm terrible. I can't do that. Dricus,
the South African guy.
The South African guy is minus 120, and Giles is a plus 100 underdog. Who do you got?
It's another tough fight because it's like Trevin Giles is one of those that I love to fade too, and he always pulls it out.
Right, same here.
I will say I have gotten to the point where I respect his hands. He has actually really good boxing. And
he does.
So I think I'm leaning towards Trevin Giles on plus 100. Why not?
Yeah, it's a tough call. I think if you're looking at ceiling, I think Dricus has the higher ceiling. I think he's the all-around better mixed martial artist. He's got some good grappling, trains over at Tiger Muay Thai. He's got some good kickboxing as well. But he gets hit. We've seen that in his most recent fight in his UFC debut against Perez. That didn't look well. It didn't look good early on. He was getting hit, but then he came back and got the knockout win. Giles, he just had his IQ is not the greatest. We've seen him, go and grapple against Gerald Mearshart, and I'm like, why are you doing that when you have the stand-up, advantage? But then he rattled off 2 wins after that. I believe, no, 3 wins in a row. So I mean, he's looking good. The only thing is he doesn't throw a ton of volume. He's a jab straight type of guy, very very long. He's got some power in that right hand. We've seen it. He can put anybody down. This is anybody's fight. I'm gonna go with Drickus just because he has more volume and he can possibly just land more than Giles. But it's a tough call. I'm not betting it, but I'll go with Drickus. Tough one to call. Going with my South African brother. He looked a bit nervous in his debut, but I think he looks much more comfortable. He will get the submission. Now it's definitely possible. I definitely think he has the advantage on the mat. I believe he's got like 7 submission wins. So I'm looking forward to the fight. I think it's gonna be a very under the radar type of fight as well. So it's gonna be a good one. All right. Next up, this is one of my favorite fights on the card. In the featherweight division, we have a fight between Ryan Hall and Ilia Topuria. Right now, Topuria is a minus 250 favorite, and the comeback on Ryan Hall, the Wizard Ryan Hall, plus 195 underdog. Who do you got?
As we talked before we started the show, we found our first dog of the day, and I'm going with Ryan Hall on this one. Like you said, it's one of those things where I think the guy's kind of doubting Ryan Hall's jiu-jitsu, and if he plays that game with them, it could be a very early night, especially if they're dry at that point. Ryan Hall is one of those best guys at leg locks in general. We've seen it all through The Ultimate Fighter, not to mention just his jiu-jitsu in general, credentialed in pretty much leg locks are all he wins by in anything. But yeah, I'm going with Ryan Hall, man. I'm going with Ryan Hall on this. Why not flip a coin on a plus 195 underdog, in which I think we're getting a little bit overvalued on the other guy. So yeah, Ryan Hall it is.
Yeah, I'm going with Ryan Hall as well. Obviously, plus 185. I think we're getting a good line here. I'm not overly confident, but giving me almost 2-1 on Hall. I think you have to take it. I know Taporia is a really good striker. We've seen that in his last fight. He got the knockout in the first round. But then if you look at his fight against Zalaw's not the greatest grappler, and Zalaw was able to take him down numerous times. He was able to reverse position on the mat numerous times. Topuria was actually starting to gas out at the end of round 2 and round 3. Also not good. We'll see what happens when it comes to the grappling. I know Topuria wants to keep it standing, but if Hall flops to his back, I think Topuria is the type of guy that he's like, oh, I don't think this guy's really that good, so I'm going to follow him to the mat. And that's exactly what Hall wants him to do. So we'll see if he really does think his jiu-jitsu is up to par with Hall. I know he's talking about Hall and saying he's not that good. He's overhyped. His jiu-jitsu, he's faced guys like that in camp, just like him. I think it's just kind of hyping himself up. And I really don't want to go in laying a guy at minus 250 thinking he's the better jiu-jitsu guy against, arguably one of the best jiu-jitsu guys in the entire UFC. So I'm taking Hall here, plus 185. I think we're getting a decent line. And I know a lot of people are super high on Topuria, and I will too. I think he's a great prospect. I just think he's getting ahead of himself. I just think he thinks too highly of himself, and he's yet to face anybody really remotely anywhere of the caliber of Hall. So we'll see what happens in that one. All right, next up we have a fight in the welterweight division between Nico Price and Michel Pereira. Right now, Pereira is a minus 155 favorite, and the comeback on Price is a plus 130 underdog. What do you got?
This is a good fight to watch from a fan perspective. Not a great one to bet on.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
I am gonna go wild and go with Pereira on this one. As much as I want to go with Nico Price, it looks like a camp switch. I think he's at MMA Masters now, which you could possibly see a more focused game plan. I do think part of the reason that he was so successful is his craziness. So I feel like the camp switch, I'm not sure how good that will work out. And I never really want to go with anyone after a camp switch. So I'm going with Pereira on this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go to Pereira as well. I think he, as long as he stays focused and doesn't go crazy, man, and jumping all over the place and stuff like that, I think I think he can get it done. I think his footwork should be able to keep him out of harm's way, and I think the defensive laps of Nico Price will kind of do him in. I think he'll get hit a lot, just like he normally does, and I feel like Pereira will probably get him out of there within like 2 rounds. And it sucks because I'm a Nico Price fan. We met him a couple times, and really cool dude, and I'm rooting him on, but I just think Pereira's going to get this victory here. All right, next up, we're finally up to our featured bout on the prelims, and that is in the welterweight division between Carlos Condit and Max Griffin. Right now, Max Griffin's a minus 200 favorite, and the comeback on Carlos Condit is a plus 165 underdog. Who do you got?
I'm all over Max Griffin in this one. I think the line's about right. I was on, what's his name? I think Court McGee when he fought Carlos Condit. Court McGee didn't have the step, but I do think, we're taking a big step up on Max Griffin. And I think Carlos Condit is a little bit past his prime. And we've seen that in the Court McGee bout. So, yeah, I'm all over Max Griffin in this one.
Yeah, me too. You got a guy that's arguably past his prime against a guy that's arguably in his prime. Max Griffin has looked the best he's ever looked in his last 2 wins, coming off of back-to-back knockouts. Very, very impressive. He's the guy that ripped off Rahimaj's ear off. He ripped his ear off. It was crazy. And then he dropped Keenan Song in the first round. So he's just looked really good ever since changing camps to MMA Gold with Jim West. He's just looking like a brand new fighter. So I'm very impressed there. And I just think he's going to be able to mix it up. And you're talking about Carlos Condit, who, his last 2 wins, he's on a 2-fight win streak, but it's against, Court McGee. It's against Matt Brown. And he had to grapple against Matt Brown to beat Matt Brown. That's the craziest thing. Talking about Carlos Condit, who's known for his striking, he had to grapple to beat Matt Brown, and it was a close fight. It was 1-1 going into that 3rd round. So I think Max Griffin should be able to win this fight standing or on the mat. And I like that he knows that he has the grappling advantage. So if he can mix it up, I think his night's going to be that much easier because Carlos Condit has given up the most takedowns in UFC history. So as long as he goes that route, he should have absolutely no problems whatsoever. All right. So we're up to the first fight on the main card in the bantamweight division between Sean O'Malley and promotional newcomer Chris Moutinho. Right now, O'Malley is a minus 900 favorite, and Moutinho is a plus 600 underdog. Who do you got?
So, I'm always in the dogs. So my guy, I went and looked up Chris Moutinho earlier in the week when I found out who was finally gifted the O'Malley sweepstakes. And I am all over Sean O'Malley, especially when I looked at Chris Moutinho's record. And, I'm big on strength of schedule and who they fought. I have come to look at my research in that. And Chris Moutinho has only beaten people who have lost. Seems to be all his winnings are against people with less than favorable records. And all of his losses at any time he stepped up in competition. Don't get me wrong, are we going to see a Hail Mary? Maybe. But I am not going with... Normally, the dog sniffer is not going with the dog on this one. I'm all over O'Malley. And he's negative 900 for no reason. I meant for a good reason. So, yep.
Right.
O'Malley. We are not getting a dog in this one.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm the same. I'll be rooting on Moutinho here. I do want him to win. I just don't... I think it's too much too soon on too short of notice, 10 days notice to get ready for such an unorthodox, tall, lengthy, rangy striker. It's super hard to get prepared for that type of fighter on, only about a week's notice. And the thing is, Moutinho, he gets hit a ton. He's tough as nails, but he gets hit a ton. He doesn't move his head off the center line, just marches forward, eats a ton of punches, try to get on the inside. He just tries to grit, and just out tough his opponents. I just don't see that happening here. I think he gets starched early in round 1 as he's just trying to come forward. I know he's going to throw a ton of leg kicks. I know he's going to try to, get O'Malley to the mat. I just don't see it being possible. I think O'Malley's going to be too fast for him. He's going to use a lot of those leg kicks to keep at range, and he's going to pop him with a right hand and sit him down and probably finish him like that. All right. We're up to the women's bantamweight division between Irene Aldana and Yana Kunitskaya. Right now, Aldana is a minus 120 favorite, and the comeback on Kunitskaya is a plus 100 underdog. What do you got?
Man, this is a huge coin flip for me. Just because I do think Yana's gotten a lot better recently, and I think she's been fighting a lot smarter. But I'm going to go with, I believe, honestly, I don't really care who wins this fight. I'm not playing it.
Yeah.
But if I had to flip a coin, I'm going to go with, who's Irene's most recent win?
Her last win was against Ketlin Vieira, where she knocked her out in the first round.
Okay, that's not bad. And
but she lost. She lost to Holly Holm in her last fight in a 5-round main event.
Okay, and before that one,
who did she? Hold on, who the hell did she fight before that? Give me a second.
No problem.
I forgot. Hold on, I don't remember things too much off the top of my head. I tried to. Vanessa Mello. Oof.
Okay. What about Yana? Who's she recently? I know she had a good performance recently. But
she beat Ketlin Vieira where she was taken down 3 times.
All right. Well, just off that one, we're going with Irene in this one.
See, like, I was very confident on Irene until today's weigh-ins. She missed weight by 3.5 pounds. And then I come to find out that she has her monthly visits from her monthly friend, and that's why she missed weight.
Oh shit! Oh, well,
yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So that's why I'm kind of just like, okay, so I'm not betting her now. It's like, fuck. Yeah. See, that's the thing we don't know as bettors, especially when it comes to these women MMA fights. We don't know when women have that time of the month. It happened against Laura Procopio in the last time and 2 weeks ago. She had the same thing, same issue, and she looked horrible. She had stomach cramps midway through. She had absolutely no gas tank, and she got subbed in the second round. I'm like, how do you remotely try to cap a fight if you don't know those types of tangibles? So it's like it makes me want to not bet on female fights, but it is what it is. I'm saying far away from this fight altogether. Due to that little tidbit, I'd probably go with Yana because I feel like she's probably in the better shape. She didn't look great on the scales either because of that. So Yana's probably going to get the win, I think, and just kind of like outwork her. And Aldana's probably going to be huffing and puffing after round 1 just from trying to defend takedowns because she just doesn't have, she doesn't have the cardio because of it, unfortunately. But that's the way the cookie crumbles in this fight. All right. Yep. Next up, we got a banger on our hands in the heavyweight division between Tai Tuivasa and Greg, the Prince of War, not the Kraken anymore, Prince of War Hardy. Right now, Tuivasa is a minus 135 favorite, and the comeback on Hardy is a plus 110 underdog. Who do you got?
So I think the biggest thing is it's very tough to see which Greg Hardy is going to show up. But the one thing we can say is we know Tai Tuivasa is not going to wrestle Greg Hardy. So
maybe we don't know that.
I don't know. Has he ever wrestled before?
Well, he was talking about that he knows that Hardy can't wrestle and that he not for this camp, but he has been getting in work at AKA.
Yeah, so. My big thing right now is I do think we're going to see a resurge Greg Hardy. I'm going with Greg Hardy, and only because size difference, and when I always like to put it this way, athlete-wise, Greg Hardy's just a different NFL athlete in this point. So strength-wise, it's not going to be a big of a deal. And I think if it does come to wrestling, Tai Tuivasa isn't known for his wrestling. So I'm going with Greg Hardy. in that regard. It's not to mention his striking isn't bad when he's focused. So yeah, I'm going with Greg Hardy on this one.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, that definitely makes sense. If you're talking about athlete wise, definitely Hardy's a better athlete. And just when it comes down to his cardio, that man, I don't know how he played football, but I don't know how he played football for for 4 quarters if with no cardio. I mean, the dude
ain't no cardio. People don't realize it's a different type of cardio. So like you think about football, they go hike and then you get a little break. They get timeouts. When you're on the D line, they can sub you out. It's a different type of cardio. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because I mean, you're absolutely right. Because this cardio is, I don't know, man. It's a different ball game. Like you said, because like he looked great in that first round against Tybura, and then I have no idea what the fuck happened. He was huffing and puffing just from throwing strikes. He wasn't clinching up. He wasn't defending takedowns in that first round. He was just landing punches and was just gas. So I don't know if we're gonna get that from him again. The dude was during this camp, he weighed 340 pounds. 340 pounds. This man had to cut 80 pounds to make weight. That is absurd. I don't know how he even made weight. He was one of the last guys to be on the scales as well. He made 264 and a half. I don't know, man. It's a tough call. I think Ty is going to be the faster of the two. I think he's going to be landing the heavy leg kicks as well. And I think Tai Tuivasa is also very durable. So I think we're going to see a barn burner. It's going to be an extremely close fight between two heavy-hitting heavyweights. I'm siding with Tuivasa, but I'm not overly confident about it. Maybe this is a live betting opportunity to see if Hardy does gas after that first round. If he does, I'm all in on Tuivasa at the break. I'm slamming that button the moment I see this man is huffing and puffing on the stool. It's just slamming it. But we'll see what happens. I think it's gonna be a great fight, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. And we're up to our co-main event. This is definitely my favorite fight on the card. Between Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and Gilbert Burns. Right now, Thompson's a minus 175 favorite, and the comeback on Burns is a plus 145 underdog. Who do you got?
Shit, I'm just now seeing the odds, and I was hoping it was the opposite because I'm all over Wonderboy, baby. Wonderboy for the win.
Yes.
I think it's honestly going to be an easy dub.
Right.
I just don't think. Don't get me wrong. I like Gilbert. I've trained with him. When I was down at Sanford, cool guy. But when it comes to skill set, I just really think Wonderboy is going to be the guy to take the title this year if they give him the shot. I think right now, Tyron, I don't know what happened with that glitch there in that fight. But I do think Wonderboy takes it this year. I think he has a skill set to beat all of those guys. Keep the distance. As long as he doesn't get caught, there's no Wonderboy.
Yeah. I agree. And mind you, I'm a huge Burns fan. I've been following him his entire career. And this is just a god awful match. This is a really bad matchup for him. I mean, you talk about Burns, he gets hit. He's not great at closing the distance. He's been getting hit at distance. We've seen it with Usman. He got put down with a jab. It was a hard jab, but it was against Usman. I just don't see if Burns can't get this fight to the mat. I don't see how. Yeah, I can hear you. You're breaking in and out. I just don't see how Burns can win this fight if he doesn't get to the mat. And we've seen that Wonderboy has exceptional takedown defense. He hasn't been taken down since the Tyron Woodley fights. He's only been taken down by Tyron Woodley and Matt Brown. I got Stephen Thompson taking this fight, beating him up on the feet and winning probably a clear-cut decision or possibly even knocking him out if Burns kind of overextends himself and tries to get too aggressive here. But Stephen Thompson has to fight for that belt eventually. Unfortunately, he's got Leon Edwards and Colby Covington ahead of him. But so he's got to have to wait a little bit, which kind of sucks because I do think he deserves a title shot soon, and I think he's the only one that really has the chance of beating Usman because he can keep the distance, he can defend takedowns, and he presents a different type of problem, a different type of puzzle that no one in the entire welterweight division can present against Usman. So, and he's also the only one that hasn't fought Usman. So, we'll see what happens. I'm very confident in Thompson. He's actually my most confident play on the entire fight card too. And we're finally up to the main event. What a main event we got between the trilogy fight, third fight, last installment between these two. Dustin Poirier taking on Conor McGregor at 155 pounds. Poirier is a minus 120 favorite. And the comeback on Conor McGregor is a plus 100 underdog. That's right. He is an underdog. That is only the second time in his UFC career that he is an underdog. Who do you got?
And this is a tough one, mainly because you can't really get a read on either one of them. So, like, for me, I do think Dustin was close to going down in that first round. And I do believe that Conor just underestimated the leg kick. And then by the time he realized, like, shit, my leg is compromised, Dustin went back to the hands and just caught him. Just clean caught him. So I do think we're going to get a focused Conor, who probably underestimated Dustin this second time around, thought he was going to be easy work, and, Dustin was able to withstand the shots that he caught. But, with that said, I'm all over Conor in this one. Am I saying I'm playing it? I haven't been betting, and I've been missing out on a lot of money, unfortunately. This is tempting to play. I think I may just watch from a standpoint, but I do think Conor presents himself as back, and he rights his wrong from the last fight, and he fights very educatedly. And what I mean by that is he keeps the distance, he moves. We see a vintage Conor performance in which he's not going to sit in there. I think the last fight, he got too comfortable fighting on the inside and did not respect any of Dustin at all, and he paid for it. I think this time he's going to use his range, use his kicks, a lot of his spinning stuff to set up his left hand and possibly end the night. But yeah, I'm going Conor in this one to right his wrong.
Yeah, I kind of see more of the same as well. It's a really hard fight, especially in rematches, because I don't think either one of these two are going to come in with the same game plan. I honestly think we're going to see Dustin Poirier shoot a lot more. I think he's going to go more grapple heavy oriented game plan in this fight. And I think Conor is going to be more light on his feet. He's going to be bouncing on his feet. He's not going to be just, stiff. He's not going to be setting on his lead leg. He's definitely going to use a lot more kicks, a lot more spinning attacks, like you said. He's going to need to use those kicks in order to set up that left hand, just like he did in the first fight. He used those kicks to make Dustin move to his power hand, and it worked out very, very well. And I feel like he's going to do more of that here. I don't see a ton of calf kicks coming from Poirier. I feel like we're going to see more calf kicks coming from Conor. And then if you also look at the last fight, Conor was landing some good shots in that fight, a lot of good shots. And if those calf kicks weren't landing, I think Conor probably would have put away Poirier because he was landing some really heavy shots. And, Poirier was like, okay, this shit hurts. He was the one that was taking a step back. He was not the one that was being the aggressor. The only way he was being the aggressor is when he landed that last calf kick. And when Conor turned his back against the cage, because Conor knew his leg was completely shattered at that point. His knee buckled. And he was like, fuck, I can't even put any weight on his leg at that point. So, and that's when he took the shots, and that's when the barrage came. And once he took that right hand, his knee gave out, and that was all she wrote. So I think he's going to be able to withstand the calf kicks. I think he's going to check them, obviously, first and foremost, if he does throw them. And I think he's going to be more aware. I do think he's not going to stand in the pocket as much as he did, and he's going to be able to avoid a lot of these heavy shots from Poirier. And I think he's possibly going to get back on track here. It's a tough call. I'm not betting this fight. I'm just going to watch it from a fan's perspective. I do like the over 1.5 rounds. I might throw that in a little bit parlay because I don't like the juice. I think it's like minus 220 or 200. I really don't like it, but Yeah, it's a tough fight to call. I mean, it's super evenly matched. These guys are really two good strikers, two very durable fighters as well, two high level strikers, two high level competitors. So I'm looking forward to this fight. Looking forward to who's going to be next in line to take on Charles Oliveira, who is going to be ringside. So that's going to be exciting as well. This man said, called Poirier winning the rematch. It's so hard to make a call on this one. Poirier is definitely the more well-rounded fighter. He took him down briefly in the rematch and controlled him against the cage for quite some time. Has Conor made the adjustments? Is he motivated or just chatting shit? Tough one. Interesting stat. Yeah, that's true. Very, very true. Like I said, I do think we're going to see more Dustin going in for takedowns. He talks about that he thinks Connor's neck is skinny and he can possibly wrap it up and choke him out. So we'll see what happens there. I do think he's going to go in for more takedowns. But if you look at the last fight, he went in for the takedown. He was gassed just for like the exchanges that they had against the cage and working him in that first round. He was huffing and puffing in that first round after some grappling because he's not normally a grappler. He can strike for 25 minutes, but you turn him into a grappler, he gets tired. So we'll see if he's able to take him down and keep him down. I mean, it took Khabib 4 rounds to wear out Conor on the mat. So I don't think Dustin's going to be able to wear out Conor on the mat early in this fight. He's going to have to drag him into the later portions of this round if he wants to, his grappling to work. So I think Conor wins. Dog money is very interesting. It's very tempting. If I'm up a lot by that point, maybe I'll throw a little bit on him. But at this point, I'm staying put. I'm just going to watch this fight happen and hope for the best and hope for a great fight because I'm really looking forward to it. So yeah, that's our breakdown for UFC 264 on the road edition with our man Peter Petties as he's driving back home. But yeah, with that said, before we get going, my man, where can everybody find you on social media so they can follow your progress, follow your journey to the UFC and to that title and by next month?
All right, you guys can follow me on Instagram at Why So Serious MMA and Twitter. I don't use it too much, but follow me. Pretty much, yeah, Instagram is what I'm most busy on. So follow me on there, peeps.
All right, guys, you know where to follow me at Fight Analyst LLC on Twitter, the Fight Analyst LLC on Instagram, and the Fight Analyst on Facebook. And get my package right now, thefightanalyst.com. Head over there and get my package today. We're gonna make some great money. We got a 5-unit max bet banger alert. Yes, we got a lot of money to be made. We're gonna make a ton of money, and I'm looking forward to this fight card. UFC 264 on tap. Let's get this money. We will see you all cashing out at the ticket window. Until next time, adios. Peace.